Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning to all of you. Okay, so let's start today's lesson, inshallah. So we are on 250, page number 250 of Learning How to Learn. Okay, so pause and recall. What were the main ideas of this chapter? Which idea is most important, or are there several competing equally important ideas? Close the book and look away as you try this. Okay, check your understanding. Now, this question you have to ask yourself, and then you have to give answers. Okay, picture work done, a few end of chapter questions tackled, and notebook ready for the next chapter, right? Okay, so let's dive into the next chapter. Chapter 15, how to do well on tests. One important caution: if you have skipped the rest of the book and just jumped directly to this chapter, you are not going to benefit nearly as much as if you read the full book. Okay, so you are reading this chapter because tests matter. That's a fact of life. In an ideal world, we would all learn things just because they are interesting and we really want to know about them. There is so much more to education than just passing official tests. But tests are an important part of showing yourself and other people that you have learned something well. So they can be important stepping stone in life as you move from school to college or from college into profession. Tests can even be fun, honestly. Research shows that tests are one of the best ways to help you learn. You can learn more in 1 hour of taking a test than in 1 hour of studying. During a test, we try hard to recall whatever little bit we can about the topic. When we are just studying, not so much. Remember how we talked about the importance of recall, right? So pulling on those brain links, when you are dragging something up for long-term memory, we know that recall strengthens your learning. It turns out that recall is just a little taste that you are giving yourself. When I was a young professor, I learned a lot from a great engineering educator named Richard Felder. Dr. Felder taught me a lot about how to teach well. He wants to help students to be successful. Here is a test preparation checklist like one Dr. Felder developed to enable students to be successful on tests. How do you use this checklist? Simply do whatever it takes to be able to answer yes to most of the questions. So here, test preparation checklist. Answer yes only if you usually do these things. Did you get a reasonable night's sleep before the test? Yes or no? Your answer is no, then your answer to the rest of the question may not matter. Okay, so did you review your notes from class not long after not after you took them? Did you use active recall during your review to see if you could easily pull to mind the key ideas? Did you study a little bit on most days instead of waiting until the last minute and cramming right before the test? Did you focus carefully during your study sessions, doing your best to avoid distractions except when you were taking a break? Did you study in different locations? Did you read your textbook or class worksheet carefully? Just finishing around for the answer to what you are working on doesn't count. While you were reading, did you avoid too much underlining and highlighting your textbook? Did you make brief notes about the book's key ideas and then look away to see if you could recall them? If your studies involved working problems, did you actively work and rework key example by yourself so you turned them into sets of brain links and could rapidly call the solution to mind? Did you discuss homework problem with classmates or at least check your solution with others? Did you actively work every homework problem yourself? Did you talk to your teachers or to other students who could help when you were having trouble with your understanding? Did you spend most of your study time focusing on the material you found harder? That is, did you do deliberate practice? Did you interleave your studies? In other words, did you practice when you to use different techniques? Did you explain key ideas to yourself and perhaps to others using funny metaphors and images? Did you take occasional breaks from your studies that include some physical activity? Okay, total. The more yes responses you recorded, the better your preparation for the test. If you recorded 3 or more no responses, think seriously about making some changes in how you prepare for the text exam. Okay, so these are the checklist. You have to answer yourself and then try to make all the no's yes. The hard start technique, learning when to disconnect. For years, students have been told to start a test with the easiest problems first. Neuroscience says that this is not a good idea. Unless you haven't studied at all, then you should take whatever easy points you can get. So when you begin your test, here is what you should do. Start quickly looking it over. Make a little check mark beside what you think are the hardest problem. Then pick one of the hard problem and start working on it. Yes, that's right, a hard problem. Eat your frogs first. So just work on this problem a minute or two, however long it takes until you feel like you are stuck. Okay? As soon as you feel yourself getting stuck, leave it. Look for an easier problem to boost your confidence. Do that text, and then maybe another one. Okay? Then go back to the hard problem. You may now be able to make some progress. How come? Doing the hard start technique allows you to use your brain as a sort of double processor. Okay, so this is double processor. So your diffuse mode can take over on the hard problem as soon as you drop your focus on it. While the focus mode is tackling the easier problem, the diffuse mode works in the background on the other harder problem. If you wait until the end of your test session to focus on the hardest problems, your focus prevents the diffuse mode from going to work. You can use this hard start technique in your homework also. A common mistake on homework is to start a hard problem and then keep working it too long without making progress. Some work, even a little frustration, it's okay. But if the frustration goes on too long, you need to disconnect. How long is too long to work on a problem? Maybe 5 or 10 minutes. It depends on the subject and your age. Okay, so the hard start technique is a good one for both test and homework because it allows you to use your brain's two modes more effectively. It also gives you valuable practice in disconnecting and moving on to problems you can solve. Disconnecting can be one of a student's biggest challenges on a test. You can run out of time even though there were other easier problems that you could have solved. On a test, you may want to disconnect more quickly when you find yourself stuck when you are doing homework. A general rule is, if you are stuck for more than a minute or two on a test, move on. The best stress, test stresses. Research has shown that the more you practice active recall in the weeks before a test, the less that stress will bother you when you take the test. So if tests stress you out, it's especially important for you to practice recall in your studies. Let's face it, though it is easy to get stress when you sit down to take a test, your palms get sweaty, your heart races, and you get an anxious feeling in the stomach. This happens because your body releases chemicals when you are under stress. Surprisingly, these stressful feelings can help you do better on the test. When you might notice anxious feelings, try to shift your perspective. Instead of thinking this test makes no sense, this test make me nervous, try to think this test has got me excited to do my best. Okay, so when you get nervous, you tend to breathe from the top of your chest. This shallow breathing doesn't give you enough oxygen. You begin to feel panic that has nothing to do with the test. You just aren't getting enough oxygen. If you tend to get nervous before a test, it can help for you to practice deep breathing. To do deep breathing, put one hand on your belly. Okay, it should move out when you breathe in. So just like the picture shows, try to imagine your breath also expanding your back as if you had sails. Practice deep breathing in the days before a test, so you get used to it. Just stand sideways in front of a mirror to try it out for 30 seconds or so. See here. So just do like that here. Shallow breathing is at the top of your chest here. Okay, deep breathing is in the lower part of your chest here, right? So deep breathing helps reduce feelings of panic. Okay, like that. You have to breathe like that. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. Inshallah, we'll do it tomorrow, inshallah. So to do deep breathing, put one hand on your belly. It should move out when you breathe in. Okay, just like the picture shows, try to imagine your breath also expanding your back. Yes, your back. So if you had, as if you had sails, practice deep breathing in the days before a test, so you get used to it. Just stand sideways in front of a mirror to try it out for 30 seconds or so. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Inshallah, we will do it tomorrow. Rest of the lesson. Thank you for joining to me and for listening to me patiently. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.